Hey folks, welcome back to the Stoic journey. Have you ever wondered why it always seems to be you? Why everyone drifts away? Why things never seem to click no matter how hard you try? Why, in the end, every door seems to slam shut in your face? Why the one person you want to attract just doesn't seem to notice your value? You keep asking yourself, what am I doing wrong? Why can't they see me for who I really am? Why am I putting in so much effort and still being overlooked? It's frustrating, right? You give it your all, and somehow, it's never enough. But here's the thing. You're asking the wrong questions. It's not just about them failing to see your worth. It's about the habits you've built. Habits that are silently sabotaging your chances without you even realizing it. Today, we're going to rip the Band-Aid off and get to the core of what's really holding you back. Let me be blunt. You're the reason they're drifting away. You're creating the distance. You're pushing them out of your life with these behaviors that you probably think are harmless, but they're not. They're the slow poison in your relationships. Every action, every habit, every insecurity, it's driving people away little by little until one day you'll look up and wonder where everyone went. And guess what? They didn't leave because of one big thing. They left because of 1,000 little ones. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Stop looking for excuses or blaming them for not seeing your worth. If you're constantly pushing people away with your habits, the problem isn't them, it's you. And if you don't fix it now, you'll keep running into the same brick wall over and over again. Same issues, different faces. You can't control whether people stay or leave, but you can damn well control whether or not you're the reason they want to walk away. Relationships aren't about control, they're about influence. And every habit you have either pulls people in or pushes them out. Which one are you doing? Look, this isn't one of those movie scenes where you win them back with some perfect speech. This is real life, and in real life, your daily habits are either keeping people close or driving them away. People don't leave all at once. They slip away slowly, and most of the time, it's because of habits you don't even think about. So stop pretending that effort alone will save the day. If your energy is toxic, if your actions are full of desperation, insecurity, or selfishness, no amount of effort will save you. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. If you're reacting out of fear or desperation, you're telling them everything they need to know, that you're not in control. And trust me, no one stays with someone who can't control themselves. This isn't about fixing them. It's about fixing you. If you don't face these habits head-on, you'll lose more than just one relationship. You'll keep losing over and over again, wondering why no one stays. You want to keep people in your life? You want them to respect you, to want to be around you? Then stop pushing them away with your actions. So, are you ready to make that shift? Now, let's break down the 7 habits that could be ruining your chances without you even knowing it. If any of these sound familiar, it's time to change, because this is your wake-up call. And here's a challenge for you. Drop a comment below with the phrase, "I'm taking control." Don't be shy, folks. Declare it boldly, because as Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." So be brave. Let them know, and more importantly, let the universe know that you're taking control of your life back. Go ahead and throw it out in the comments. I'm taking control. Done, my friends? Let's go. Number 1, overthinking. So folks, the first habit we need to tackle today is overthinking. And I know some of you might not agree with me at first. You might be sitting there thinking, what? What's wrong with being cautious? What's wrong with thinking things through? But stick with me, because this is something that could be quietly sabotaging your relationships without you even realizing it. Overthinking is like slow poison. At first, it seems harmless, but over time, it erodes trust, connection, and attraction. When you overthink, it shows others that you lack confidence in yourself and in the relationship. Let me put it bluntly. No one wants to feel like they're walking on eggshells, constantly overanalyzing everything they say, every text they send, every look they give. That's exhausting, not just for you, but for them too. Overthinking sends the message that you're insecure, that you don't trust their intentions, or worse, that you're not even sure of your own feelings. As our wise legend Marcus Aurelius once said, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." If your thoughts are filled with doubt and anxiety, that's the energy you're projecting into your relationship. And guess what? That energy pushes people away. How do you know if you have this bad habit? Ask yourself this. How many times do you replay conversations in your head? How often do you dissect every word, trying to figure out what they really meant? Do you find yourself hesitating before responding to texts, worried you might say the wrong thing? Do you create entire stories in your mind about how they're losing interest, based on nothing but a delayed response or a small comment? That's overthinking at work. It takes something small, something that probably doesn't mean much at all, and blows it up into a full-blown drama in your head. And let me tell you, no one is attracted to that level of self-sabotage. Let's take an example. Maybe you're trying to attract someone new. You're texting them, things are going well, but suddenly they don't respond for a few hours. Your mind starts spiraling. Did I say something wrong? Are they losing interest? Are they talking to someone else? And what do? You send a follow-up text, or worse, you start apologizing for things you didn't even do. Congratulations, you've just pushed them further away. Instead of being the calm, confident person they were getting to know, you've shown them a side of you that's needy and insecure. No one misses the person who's constantly second-guessing themselves. Or maybe you're in a long-term relationship, and over time, you've started overanalyzing everything your partner says. They come home a little quieter than usual, and suddenly you're convinced they're upset with you, or even worse, that they're losing interest. You ask them repeatedly if something's wrong. You pick apart their every word, trying to find some hidden meaning. And what happens? Your constant questioning makes them feel like they're under a microscope. They start pulling away because they feel suffocated by your need for reassurance. You're pushing them away with your own doubts. So, how do you get rid of this bad habit? Want to find that out? Don't worry, I've got you covered. But first, please hit that like button under this video, as this really helps this video reach more people like you, looking for help. And the best thing to do is to help others. So, how do you get rid of this bad habit? First, you need to let go of the need for control. Overthinking is your brain's way of trying to control situations. But here's the reality. You can't control other people's thoughts or actions. You can only control yourself. Lao Tzu said, "If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present." Overthinking pulls you out of the present and throws you into a future that doesn't even exist yet. So stop. Come back to the present. Focus on what's real, not what you're imagining. Next, trust yourself. Trust that you've shown up as the best version of yourself, and that's enough. You don't need to dissect every interaction to find hidden clues. Let things unfold naturally. Relationships aren't a chess game, and people aren't puzzles to be solved. You're not playing a game, you're building a connection. And connections happen when you're present, when you're not caught up in your own head. And here's a little humor for you. Overthinking is like trying to play detective in a rom-com. You're searching for clues, trying to figure out the mystery of their feelings. But the plot twist is, there's no mystery. They just got busy, or tired, or maybe, just maybe, they're literally just living their life without the need for constant texting. Imagine Sherlock Holmes overanalyzing someone's lunch choice, convinced it's a clue to some hidden drama. Sounds ridiculous, right? Well, that's what you're doing when you overthink every little thing in your relationships. Overthinking also kills spontaneity. Relationships are supposed to be fun, full of surprises, and yes, a little bit of mystery. But when you're overthinking, you're squeezing the life out of those moments. You're too busy analyzing what just happened to enjoy what's happening now. So give your mind a break. You don't need to have everything figured out. Life is messy, people are unpredictable, and that's okay. Embrace it. Now, let's wrap this up with some motivation. You are not the person who needs to overanalyze every little thing. You are confident, you are secure, and you trust yourself and your instincts. So stop letting your thoughts run the show. As Eleanor Roosevelt said, you wouldn't worry so much about what others think of you if you realized how seldom they do. Let that sink in. People are not overthinking you the way you're overthinking them. Here's your challenge. Stop the overthinking. Drop the comment "I trust myself" below if you're ready to kick this habit for good. It will also let me know that you're following along and that I'm not just talking to the wind. Let's see who's really ready to take control and leave overthinking behind. And folks, this is just one bad habit. We've got 6 more to go. Each one is crucial if you really want to transform your relationships and stop pushing people away. So please stay with me, because every one of these habits could be the key to making that shift you've been looking for. Let's keep going. Number 2. Non-serious behavior. You might be sitting there thinking, non-serious behavior? That's not me. I've never done that. But let me stop you right there, because you're probably doing it a lot more than you think. It's not just about cracking a joke or being carefree in the moment. It's about how you show up in your life, in your relationships, and how others perceive your level of commitment to things that matter. You see, when people don't take you seriously, it's usually because you're not taking yourself seriously enough. Here's the truth. If you're not serious about your own life, your own goals, your own growth, why would anyone else take you seriously? It's not enough to just go with the flow all the time. Sure, it might make you seem easygoing or fun, but in reality, people are drawn to those who are committed. People want to be around others who have a vision, who are driven, and who don't just float through life hoping things will fall into place. Now think about it. Do you find yourself attracted to someone who has no direction, who's always laughing things off, who doesn't seem to care about where they're going in life? Probably not. You're drawn to people who have their act together, who are serious about making something of themselves. And guess what? That's exactly what others are looking for in you too. They want to see that you're serious, that you're invested in your own future. And when they see how serious you are about your own life, that's when they start feeling the pull. Here's the problem with non-serious behavior. It makes people doubt you. It creates this unspoken question in their mind. Can I rely on this person? Are they committed? Or is this just a phase for them? No one wants to be with someone who treats life like it's one big joke. Relationships require seriousness at times. Life requires seriousness. And if you're constantly brushing things off, never showing that you're serious about anything, people will start to drift. They'll start to see you as someone who's not grounded, someone who isn't capable of handling the real hard stuff when it comes up. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you have to be serious all the time. That's not what this is about. But you need to know when to take things seriously. If everything's always a joke, if you never show up fully, if you don't take your goals seriously, you're sending a message. I'm not invested in my own life, so why should anyone else be? So, how can you tell if you have this bad habit? Take a good hard look at how you approach important conversations. Are you quick to laugh things off when they get deep? Do you avoid discussing your goals or future plans because it makes you uncomfortable? Are you the person who never follows through on their promises because you never really took them seriously in the first place? That's non-serious behavior, my friend, and it's doing more damage than you realize. Let me give you a real example. Let's say you're dating someone new. Things are going great, but every time the conversation gets serious about the future, about commitment, you brush it off with a joke or change the subject. At first, they might think you're just easygoing, but over time, they'll start to wonder if you're ever going to take things seriously. And that's when the distance starts to grow. They're looking for someone who's going to show up for them, someone who's serious about their intentions. And if you're not showing that, they're going to walk away. Or maybe you're in a long-term relationship, and your partner's been talking about making some big life changes, moving, buying a house, starting a family. Every time they bring it up, you downplay it, act like it's not a big deal, or avoid the conversation altogether. To them, it feels like you're not invested, like you're not taking the relationship or the future seriously. And let me tell you, nothing pushes people away faster than feeling like the person they're with isn't serious about them. How do you fix this? It's simple. You start by taking yourself seriously. You start by showing up fully in your own life. If you've got dreams, go after them. If you've got goals, take real steps toward achieving them. Don't just talk about them, do something. When people see that you're committed to your own growth, your own success, they'll automatically start taking you more seriously. As the wise Jim Rohn once said, if you are not willing to risk the unusual, you will have to settle for the ordinary. Being serious about your life doesn't mean you can't have fun or enjoy the moment. It means you know when to buckle down and get things done. It means you're not afraid to show people that you've got ambitions, that you're going somewhere, and that you expect the same level of commitment from those around you. When you do that, you become someone they can rely on, someone they want to build with, not someone they can easily overlook. So here's your challenge. Start taking yourself seriously. Drop the comment, "I take my life seriously," below if you're ready to stop coasting through life and start showing up fully for yourself and for the people you care about. It will also let me know that you're following along and not just taking this lightly. People are watching how you show up, and if you don't take yourself seriously, why should they? So go ahead, declare it, let them know, and more importantly, let yourself know that you're done with the non-serious behavior. You're all in. Number 3, not taking time for yourself. You might think that always being available, always showing up for others, is the way to win them over or keep them close. You might even believe that sacrificing your time, your energy, and your personal space is a sign of commitment. But here's the truth. Not taking time for yourself is one of the fastest ways to push people away. It might sound counterintuitive, but the more you neglect yourself, the less attractive you become. Why? Because when you don't take time for yourself, you're sending a message that you don't value your own needs. And if you don't value yourself, why should anyone else? Think about it. When someone sees that you're always available, always bending over backward to meet their needs, it starts to look like desperation, not devotion. People are drawn to individuals who respect themselves enough to prioritize their own well-being. When you neglect that, it shows others that you're not invested in your own growth. And let me tell you, people are drawn to growth. They want to be around those who are constantly evolving, improving, and taking care of their own minds and bodies. Imagine this. You're in a relationship, and every time your partner wants to hang out, you drop everything. Your hobbies on hold, your personal goals forgotten, your own downtime doesn't exist anymore. Sure, at first it might feel good to be so available, but over time, your partner will start to see that you've lost sight of yourself. You've become someone who's completely absorbed by the relationship, and that's a red flag. Why? Because healthy relationships are built on balance. And when one person stops taking care of themselves, the balance breaks. It's like this. When you're constantly giving without taking time to recharge, you run out of energy. And a drained, exhausted version of you is not what attracts people. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you're not taking time to recharge, to focus on your own needs, you're bringing a watered-down version of yourself to the relationship. That's not fair to you, and it's not fair to them. The author Anne Lamott once said, "Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you." You need to unplug sometimes to function at your best. Let's be honest, nobody is attracted to someone who has no life outside of their relationship. People are drawn to those who have their own passions, their own goals, their own sense of purpose. When you take time for yourself, you're investing in those things, and that investment makes you more attractive. It shows that you're a whole person, not someone who's just waiting around for the next opportunity to prove their worth by sacrificing more time. So how do you know if you're guilty of this habit? Ask yourself, when was the last time I did something just for me? When was the last time you took a break, focused on a hobby, or just sat with your own thoughts? If you're always in go mode for others and never in me mode for yourself, you've got a problem. Taking time for yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's how you recharge your energy and reconnect with who you are outside of your relationships. How do you fix this? You start by setting boundaries. You start by saying no when you need time to recharge, when you need space to think, or when you need to focus on your own life. You schedule time just for yourself, whether it's an hour to read, a day to focus on your goals, or even a weekend to reset. You have to make yourself a priority, because if you don't, no one else will. Take a real-world example. Let's say you're dating someone new and you're excited to spend time with them. Naturally, you want to see them as often as possible. But if you're constantly saying yes to every plan, always available at the drop of a hat, they're going to start wondering where your life went. What happened to the person who had their own interests, their own schedule, their own sense of self? The key to making someone miss you isn't being constantly available. It's creating space for them to want to see you. When they see that you take time for yourself, they'll respect that, and they'll be drawn to the strength and independence you show. Or maybe you're in a long-term relationship, and it feels like you're always on. You're always focused on your partner's needs, always the one to make plans, always putting your own stuff on hold to make sure they're happy. But over time, that lack of attention to yourself drains your energy and dulls your personality. Your partner will notice that shift. What was once an exciting, engaging relationship becomes routine, and that's when the distance starts to grow. By taking time for yourself, you bring back that spark. You become more energized, more interesting, more you. The bottom line is this: when you take time for yourself, you become more attractive to others. You show that you value yourself, that you're committed to your own growth, and that you're not just living to please someone else. You become a person worth missing because you're someone who respects their own time and space. Here's your challenge. Start taking time for yourself. Drop the comment, "I prioritize me," below if you're ready to start making yourself a priority. It will also let me know that you're with me on this, that you're not just listening to this and letting it slide. People will respect you more when they see you respect yourself, so go ahead, declare it, let them know, let yourself know, and let the universe know that you're taking your time seriously. Number 4. Being emotionally unstable. Let's get real for a second. Being emotionally unstable is one of the fastest ways to push people away, and I'm not just talking about the big dramatic moments. It's the day-to-day emotional roller coaster that leaves others feeling exhausted, confused, and ultimately distant. You might not think you're being unstable, but let's dig a little deeper. Emotional instability shows up when your mood swings like a pendulum, depending on how things are going that day. One minute you're up, everything's good, you're happy, you're optimistic, but the second something doesn't go your way, you spiral. You go from 0 to 100, and your emotions start controlling everything. Let me be blunt. People can't keep up with that. No one wants to feel like they're walking into a storm every time they talk to you, unsure of which version of you they're going to get. It's draining. When you're emotionally unstable, you're not in control, and here's the hard truth. People are attracted to stability. They're drawn to those who can handle life's ups and downs without falling apart. If every small inconvenience or disagreement sets you off, you're showing them that you can't manage your own emotions, let alone a relationship. And the worst part? It makes people feel like they have to tiptoe around you. No one wants to feel like they're constantly on edge. Marcus Aurelius, our Stoic legend, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you let every outside event control your emotions, you're giving away your power. You're telling the world that you're at the mercy of whatever happens around you, and that, my friends, is not attractive. It makes people pull away because they don't want to be caught in the storm. So how do you know if you're emotionally unstable? Take a look at how often you let your emotions dictate your actions. Are you quick to react in anger, frustration, or sadness? Do you find yourself lashing out only to regret it later? Are you constantly apologizing for your outbursts or mood swings? If you're nodding your head right now, then it's time to face the truth. You're letting your emotions control you. Here's what you need to do. Take a step back. When something triggers you, don't react immediately. Give yourself a moment to breathe, to assess the situation logically, before letting your emotions take the wheel. And remember, emotions aren't the problem. It's letting them run wild that creates instability. You need to be the one steering the ship, not your emotions. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Emotional stability doesn't mean you don't feel things. It means you know how to manage those feelings without letting them ruin your day or your relationships. People are attracted to that kind of strength. They want to feel safe around you, knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you without falling apart. When you master this, trust me, people will notice. They'll respect you more, they'll feel more comfortable around you, and they'll want to be a part of your life. So here's your challenge. Start managing your emotions. Drop the comment, "I control my emotions," below if you're ready to take back your power. It will show me that you're serious about this transformation and not just letting your emotions run the show. Let the universe know you're taking control of your emotional state and watch how people start gravitating toward you. You've got this. Stay grounded. Stay in control. Number 5. Needing constant validation. Let's talk about needing constant validation. This is one of those sneaky habits that can destroy even the strongest relationships without you realizing it. You might not think it's a big deal. Maybe you just want to hear that you're doing a good job, that they care, that they still like you. But let me tell you something, folks. Constantly needing validation will push people away faster than anything else. Why? Because it shows insecurity, and insecurity is exhausting for the people around you. When you're constantly looking for validation from someone, you're putting the weight of your self-worth in their hands. Every time you ask, "Do you still like me? Was that good enough? Are we okay?" You're sending a message that you don't believe in your own value, that you need them to tell you you're enough. And let's be real, who finds that attractive? No one is drawn to someone who's constantly looking for reassurance because it shows that you're not confident in yourself. Think about it. When you're with someone who's always asking for validation, it becomes draining. Instead of being able to enjoy the relationship, they're stuck trying to reassure you at every turn, and after a while, it becomes too much. They start pulling away because no one wants to feel like they have to constantly prop someone up. People are attracted to confidence, to those who know their worth without needing others to confirm it every 5 minutes. Do you ever find yourself fishing for compliments or constantly seeking their approval? Do you feel uneasy if they don't tell you how great you are, or if they don't constantly reaffirm their feelings for you? That's a clear sign you're stuck in the habit of needing constant validation. And let me be honest, that's a habit you need to break. How do you break it? You start by looking inward. You need to validate yourself first. The Stoics teach us that true peace comes from within, not from external sources. As Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." You can't control whether someone gives you the validation you're seeking, but you can control how you feel about yourself. You have to believe that you're enough without needing someone else to tell you so. Next, practice letting go of the need for external approval. When you feel the urge to ask for validation, pause. Ask yourself, why do I need this right now? What am I afraid of? Usually, it's fear. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of not being loved. But that fear is yours to deal with, not theirs. If you can start to validate yourself, to trust your own worth, you'll see how unnecessary that constant reassurance really is. Now, imagine being with someone who never needs you to validate them. Someone who is so secure in themselves that they don't ask for constant approval. That's attractive. That's what draws people in, because it shows confidence. It shows that you know who you are, and you don't need anyone to remind you of your worth. Here's your challenge. Stop needing validation from others. Drop the comment, "I am enough," below if you're ready to break this habit. Let the universe know that you're done seeking approval and ready to stand firm in your own value. Let's see who's truly ready to stop needing constant validation and start owning their worth. Go ahead, drop it in the comments. Number 6, taking everything too personally. Let's dive into the next big habit that's probably pushing people away way more than you realize. Taking everything too personally. This is one of those habits that can destroy relationships from the inside out. You might not even be aware of it, because it feels natural to take things personally when they're directed at you, right? But here's the problem. Not everything is about you. When you start seeing every little action, comment, or situation as a personal attack, you create unnecessary drama and tension. People start feeling like they have to walk on eggshells around you, and that's exhausting for them. Taking everything personally shows insecurity. You're giving others too much power over how you feel. Every time they say something you don't like or behave in a way that doesn't fit your expectations, you take it as a direct hit to your self-worth. But here's the truth. Most of the time, it's not about you at all. People have their own issues, their own moods, their own lives. And if you're constantly interpreting everything as a personal attack, you're missing the bigger picture. Think about it. Do you like being around people who are overly sensitive, who turn every minor comment into a major issue? Of course not. It's draining. Now flip that around. If you're the one always taking things personally, you're the one draining the energy out of your relationships. People are not trying to hurt you, but when you react like they are, you create unnecessary conflict. It becomes harder for them to talk to you openly, to be real with you, because they're worried you'll blow things out of proportion. Let me give you an example. Maybe your partner makes a casual comment about something you did. Maybe they point out that you forgot to do something, or that you were a little late to meet them. Instead of taking it for what it is, a simple observation, you take it as a criticism of who you are. You think, they must think I'm careless. They must be losing respect for me. And suddenly, a small comment turns into a big argument because you've taken it way too personally. How do you break this habit? First, you need to realize that most things people say or do are not personal. They're reflections of their own experiences, not an attack on you. When someone says something that triggers you, take a step back and ask yourself, why does this bother me? Is it really about you, or is it something you're projecting? Here's the Stoic approach. You can't control what other people say or do, but you can control how you react. As Marcus Aurelius said, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. It's all about taking ownership of your emotional responses. Stop letting other people's actions dictate how you feel. Here's your challenge. Stop taking things so personally. Drop the comment, "I let it go," below, if you're ready to stop being triggered by everything, and start focusing on what really matters. Let the universe know that you're taking control of your emotional state and ready to stop letting every little comment ruin your peace. Go ahead, drop it in the comments.